right, team. So now we're going to go over the macro-based meal plans that are all listed right here for the 100 to 50, 150 to 200 pound, 200 to 250 pound, and the 250 plus pound user, which they're really all the same program. The difference is the portion sizes and the amount of macros being distributed between each are a little different based on whichever one you fall into. And like I said, these are ideally designed to be used based on the starting weight you have. However, I would say 30% of the time we will break that guideline. I don't want to say rule because it's not, it's more a guideline. We'll break that guideline based on what somebody's individual caloric needs are. Like, for example, I had a girl, she was working out with us for 2 years now, and she weighed about 128-ish pounds when she first came to us, but she was super active. She worked out twice a day, was playing soccer, really had a high amount of calories that she was burning, and she needed to eat damn near 2,000 calories a day just to sustain what she was doing, let alone make any kind of progress. So for her, we had her on the program that was designed for a 250-pound male because it made sense for her. Why do I mention that? There's going to be some times where it might make sense where you break out of that guideline of following the program based off your starting weight, depending on what your goals and what your situation is. And if you're not sure about that, like I said, the best thing to do is to reach out to us in the free Facebook group. So this way, we can ask you a couple questions and help you figure out what makes the most sense based off you, your situation, what your goals are, all that stuff, right? So I am just going to shrink this down real quick and slide this over so we can focus on what we have to focus on, which are the meal plans right here, okay? Now, real quick, let's see if I can make this a little bigger so the number is. So, quick overview of the actual program itself, right? Now, the 1.25 program, which is right up here. My highlight is not working. I'm sorry, guys. The 1.25 program, which is right here. The 1.75 program, which is right here. The 2.25 program, which is right here. And the 2.75 program, which is right here, are the 4 different meal plans. Once again, the 1.25 plan is for somebody who weighs between 100 and 150 pounds, right? Number in the middle. 1.75 is for somewhere between 150 and 200. This one's for the 2 to 250 pound user and the 250 pound user and above. Quick math, right? This meal plan right here, the 1.25 plan, that plan for somebody who weighs between 100 and 150 pounds, this is about a 900 to 1,000 calorie plan, okay? And the way it's broken down macro-wise, all these programs fit about, depending on what food options you pick and everything else, about 50% of your diet is going to be coming from protein here, okay? And the other 25% is going to be coming from your carbs and your fats. And they can be interchangeable. As long as that combination of fats and carbs, the calories between the both equal no more than 50% of your total calories, you're still within balance. The good thing is you really don't have to do any of that math or calculations because all the calculations are done for you based on the portion sizes they have listed on the screen over here. Like, for example, the way this program works is you're going to have 3 meals a day, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then your individual 2 snacks in between, right? Those are represented by the protein shakes. And what's going to happen is, I just want to go a little bigger so you can see it. Breakfast, you're going to have something from the green category, something from the blue category, something from the orange category, where you can go up top right here and see all the different categories, or have colors to them, so they're categorized. Lunch is going to be a carb, a veggie, and a protein. Dinner is going to be, for the 1.25 plan, guys, to keep the calories lower, there's no fat included with dinner. It's only a protein and a veggie. Where if we go to the 1.75 plan, the 2.25 plan, or if we go to the 2.75 pound plan, you can see there is a fat included at dinner time because it's the easiest way to get rid of a bunch of calories is cut out the fats for that, right? So, but you're going to have fats worked in with all your other meals, just so you guys know, right? So let's go back to the 1.25 plan, which you're on right now, and we're going to go through the first day. So for breakfast, I have to have a veggie, I have to have a protein, and I have to have a carb. You guys can see that, right? The way it's going to work is I'm going to pick one item, that one that's right there. I'm going to pick one item from the protein list. And I can choose any one of these items to fulfill my requirement for that one protein source. And I'm going to have that protein source with the portion size listed right next to it. Because if I follow the portion size, like I said, I'm going to stay within my macros. I can have 4.5 ounces of chicken. I can have 4.5 ounces of bison burger, venison, 97.3 lean turkey, or 93.7 ground turkey breast. I gotta have 4.5 ounces of pork tenderloin, ground beef, white fish. We're not gonna have salmon or sea bass. I'll tell you why in a second. 1 cup of egg whites, or 1 cup of egg whites or 4 egg whites. 1 cup of 0% cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, 1 scoop of protein powder, 1 can of tuna fish, right? Any of those could be used. Now, here's the reason why you can't have salmon or sea bass. Because people say to me all the time, Jay, I thought salmon was healthy. It is, but there's certain foods that have a ton of fat inside them, like salmon and sea bass are both fatty fishes. So you're going to get a ton of protein, but you're also going to get a ton of fats inside of there. So let's say somebody decides to have salmon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because you like salmon, and you're not losing weight. As a matter of fact, you're gaining weight. You're like, what's going on? Why am I not seeing the results I want? Because the extra fat in the salmon might be and it's not might be, it'll be increasing your calories to where there's no longer a caloric deficit, which is why you're not losing weight. That's why we say for people in the beginning, for the first 7 to 10 days when somebody's going through our coaching program, we want to make sure they stay within these food options so this way they can start seeing results right from the get-go. And then after that, we start showing them through the coaching program how they can modify foods and swap foods out to basically where they're making their own food choices, still hitting their numbers, right? Which, for you guys, I would say my suggestion would be before you start swapping things out, enter those foods into MyFitnessPal, see how they work out, and then just see what you would be over on, what you would be under on, and what adjustments you'd have to make to be able to make those food substitutions, but still stay within your caloric and protein goals, right? All right, moving on so we also have to have a carb. They can pick anything off this carb list based on the portion sizes listed. Sweet potatoes, red potatoes, beans, cooked rice, Ezekiel bread, rolled oats, small baked potato, cooked quinoa, fruit, berries, right? Fats, you have peanut butter, almond butter, coconut oil, grass-fed butter, olive oil, medium avocado, 1/8 of a cup of nuts. Guys, that messes more people up than anything. The nuts and the peanut butters, the portion sizes. A scoop of peanut butter, just for the record, is not as much as you can fit on top of 1 spoon. It's a leveled off top. So you'd actually be surprised how many calories you get in your fats between your peanut butters and your nuts, which is why we tell most people, just cut the nuts and the peanut butters out if you're really trying to save calories. You'll get more food in from your other sources, and you won't feel as hungry because you'll feel fuller, right? And then cooking oil too. That's calories right there. Keep that in mind. Now, one quick thing. We're going to go to the veggies list right here, right? 1 cup of veggies except for the ones listed. Peas, carrots, corn, squash, zucchini, eggplant, pumpkin, beets. Jay, why can't I have those? Those particular veggies are higher in carbohydrates and sugars than you would think. So I'm going to scroll down to page 3 of this for a second. And I'm sorry that it's sideways, guys, because it's just the way the PDF worked. I couldn't turn it a different way. I wanted to fit everything in on one screen. But if we go down right here, what I did is for somebody who isn't maybe as savvy with MyFitnessPal and never gets a chance to use it, you can go and see what the proteins, carbs, fats, and calories are for all the foods listed up here on the meal choices. So you can see what they are ahead of time. And if you look down here, don't kill your neck, I'll read it to you. If you look at the carbs for 1 cup of corn, right? 1 cup of corn has 31.5 grams of carbs, where if I go over here to, where is it? 3/4 of a cup of sweet potatoes, 16.5 grams of carbs. I can go over here to, where's a good one? Peas, 1 cup of peas is going to have 22.8 grams of carbs, where if I go down to half a cup of dry rolled oats, 27 grams of carbs. Let's say I go down to half a cup of cooked rice, 20 grams of carbs. So it's a matter of, would you rather have your peas, would you rather have your rice? It's just, people don't realize that these certain veggies, they do act more like carbohydrates. So while you're trying to create a caloric deficit, right? Not that they're not healthy foods, but knowing that we're trying to lower our calories down low so that we can promote weight loss and fat loss. We want to stay away from these during our progression phase, but once we transition to a maintenance phase, you can absolutely work them back in. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that it's going to be harder to maintain your macros, right, when you're having these veggies. Or if you do have them, just know that any of these would count as a carbohydrate in your programming, right? So breakfast, protein, veggie, and a carb. We ate it, right? We followed the portion on the meal plans. If you look a little bigger, I hate this before. We're going to look at the proteins, we'll look at the carbs, right? Chicken breast is 4.5 ounces and 3/4 of a cup of sweet potatoes for somebody on the 1.25 plan. Let's go to the 1.75 plan now, right? Where are we at? that 4.5 ounces went up to 6 ounces. Carbs stayed the same, right? Let's go to the 2.25 plan now, right? This particular plan right here. So the 1.25 plan is 900 calories. The 1.75 plan is 1,200 calories. This plan is 1,500 calories, and the 2.75 plan is 2,000 calories. So what happened here is protein is still 6 ounces, but now our carbs doubled, went up to 1.5 cups of sweet potatoes. Oh, shit. Well, let's see what happens with the 2.75 plan, right? The one for that 2,000 calorie meal plan, right? Oh, look at this. We went to 9 ounces of chicken instead of 6, and we went to 2.25 cups of sweet potatoes versus the 1 1/3. So if you look, all the food options are exactly the same. What's different is the portion sizes, and ergo that leads to the total number of macros and calories being different for the day based on what your needs would be, right? So once again, we'll go back to the 1.25 plan. Breakfast, I'm going to have a protein, a carb, and a veggie because that's what the program calls for. Lunch, I'm going to have a protein, a carb, and a veggie. Dinner, depending what plan you're following, you're definitely going to have a protein and a veggie and possibly possibly a fat, depending what plan you're following. And for your snacks in between, you want to have some kind of a protein-based item. So we put the shakers down here because for most people, having a protein shake in between breakfast and lunch and having another protein shake in between lunch and dinner is the easiest, most effective, quickest way to get it in. However, if you were like, well, Jay, can I have a portion of a cup of Greek yogurt? You can just swap it out. You can swap it out for any of the foods you want on here. Let's say I'm weird, I do this, right? I have little portions of like my ground turkey and my chicken breast, like for snacks. I like protein. So I'll have a snack that is 4.5 ounces of chicken breast, right? Versus having a fat or a protein shake or whatever else. I might sometimes save my protein shakes. Now, I'm not saying to do this. I'm just giving you examples, right? So for me, if I'm following the 2,000 calorie plan, right? And right here it says, have 2.25 scoops of protein powder. I might have my 2.25 scoops of protein powder and a piece of fruit with for breakfast. I know it's kind of hard to have veggies. That's where having like some kind of like, a veggie powder, kind of like the mixes. I can't remember, I'm thinking of the name of it. The greens powder that you would take, you add a scoop to like your protein shake or whatever. That's what I would do. And it gets my veggie, my fat, and my carbs in, where I might save my solid food for my snack because let's say like with me, I'm in a personal training session. I'm not gonna get a chance to eat real quick. So protein shake, throw my greens inside of there, have a piece of fruit. 30 seconds, I'm done. I'm back on the floor teaching a class or training a client, where I might have 5 or 10 minutes to sit down at 12 o'clock and I'll have my actual solid real food then. So remember, these are more guidelines than they are actual rules. So you can swap this stuff and move around however you want. But this is just to get you moving in the right direction. The goal of this program right here, guys, is not for you to follow this program for the rest of your life. This is meant to be a starting point to start teaching you the methods and strategies and show you that you work. This is step 1 of the process. It's a 3-step process. Step 1, we give you the meal plan, show you what to eat so you start getting results within 7 to 10 days. Step 2, if you were following with us through one of our actual paid coaching programs, we would work with you to start showing you how to swap out the foods on the meal plan for the foods you like and enjoy and the things you want to eat to be able to better match your lifestyle, your preferences, and just the things you enjoy having. And then step 3 would be getting you to the point where you're not even following a meal plan anymore. You'd be doing something more similar to the Rapid Results formula, where you know how many grams of protein, carbohydrates, and fats you should be having every day, your macros, right? You know what your caloric goal is that you shouldn't go above, and by making sure you stay within your macros and making sure you're staying within your calorie goal, you can eat whatever you want as long as it satisfies those 2 categories, which gives you a lot more freedom. It makes it a lot less stressful. It allows you to go out and enjoy the things you want to enjoy, yet still giving you some kind of a structure, and it gets you the results you're looking for because you're not hating the process. You're actually not even realizing you're doing it. So, but like I said, this is a little bit more of a structured program, so it takes all the guesswork out of the program. Now, what I am going to say about this is that you're going to have, for your protein goal, right? Let me pause this for a second. All right, so I wanted to go back to this real quick because this is actually one of the bigger things we have to coach our members through in the beginning, right? So somebody coming down, right, following a meal plan, let's say you're following the 1,500 calorie meal plan, right? 1,500 calories divided by 2. Half your calories are coming from protein, divided by 4 is... So if you're following the 1,500 calorie meal plan, which would be this meal plan right here, that meal plan designed for somebody who weighs between 200 and 250 pounds, right? That would be 188 grams of protein you have to eat a day, all right? So let's just say that you have to eat, I messed that number up. You have to eat 1,500 calories, and while eating 1,500 calories, you have to eat 188 grams of protein, right? Now, a lot of people don't even eat 50 grams of protein throughout the day right now. It's actually disgustingly sad how little people eat protein-wise, because you've never tracked it. It's not your fault. But now that you're aware of it, let's actually make sure we take care of it. So, 188 grams of protein. For most people, that's going to be a lot. Not that it's a lot to stomach, it's a lot to kind of figure out and fit and say, where am I going to get that much protein from, right? So we kind of do it in phases to kind of help get you guys used to the process. So level 1, right, for your protein goal is going to be 100 grams of protein a day minimum, right? You can never go below that number. Like, I want your sole focus during this program is to never drop below 100 grams of protein. Now, is that the most ideal number for somebody? No, but if you always eat above 100 grams of protein a day, you're going to have enough in there where you're still going to get faster results, and your body's going to be able to respond to the workouts and the resistance training and the cardio, and you'll notice things moving faster for you. So first and foremost, your level 1 goal for your protein, guys, is never drop below 100 grams of protein. Now, we don't want to stay there. We want to get to the goal that we should be eating at. So now we're going to make the next step. Now that you got to 100 grams of protein a day and you're hitting that number safely, level 2 is going to be your 80% marker, right? So level 2 is going to be hitting 80% of your goal, right? Your goal is 188 grams of protein, so 80% of 188 is times, I'll do the math, 188 times 0.8 is 150 grams of protein. So that means your next step after you got done eating 100 grams of protein every day, level 2 is going to be hitting 80% of your goal, which would be 150 grams of protein a day. So now your focus would be increasing your protein amount to where you're eating 150 grams of protein a day. Level 3 is going to be 100% to goal, which in this scenario right here would be 188 grams of protein, meaning that you're supposed to be eating 188 grams of protein, and you are, because that's what the program tells you to do, and you got to follow the guidelines to get the results, right? But what about level 4? What do we do for level 4? Well, level 4 is a little bit more of the advanced category, and some of you guys will get there, some of you guys won't get there for a while, some of you guys might want to go there right away. What level 4 is that's your 100% to goal plus exercise-based activity included. So what do I mean by that? So knowing that I have to eat 1,500 calories and half of my calories are coming from protein, that means 750 calories of that 1,500 are coming from my protein, right? 1 gram of protein retains 4 calories, so if I divide 750 by 4, that's where I get the 188 from. But as I work out, I'm going to be burning off more calories, so I'm going to need to take more food in. This is going to be more for people where if you work out moderately to rigorously more than 4 times a week, you'll probably want to add back in your exercise calories. If you're not sure, like I said, reach out to us in the Facebook group so we can guide you in the right direction. However, let's say somebody burnt off their 1,500, plus I burnt off an extra, I'm going to say 600 calories today. So 1,500 plus 600 is 2,100. I apologize about it being backwards, guys. Just go with me on it. So, doing that same math, 2,100 divided by 2 is 1,050, right? It's half my calories. I'm going to divide that number by 4 because now, that's 1 gram of protein, that's 4 calories. So dividing that number by 4, my protein intake for the day now should be 262 grams of protein, right? 262 grams of protein, right? Now, what I'm going to say about that is this. Level 4 is very advanced. Most of you guys watching this, really, you won't need to worry about this for a very long time, but just know that it's there. Once you get above your basic 100% goal, while I would like you to keep your ratios the same because it's better for fat loss and insulin sensitivity and all that other stuff, the extra calories you're burning off, if you're adding them back in as carbs and fats versus protein also, is it the end of the world? No, it's not. You'll still make progress. The difference is that, like, when you're giving yourself that many extra carbohydrates and shit, you know, insulin sensitivity is going to be off, maybe retaining a little bit more water. I just always found keeping that ratio for myself and for my clients, we found that keeping it as close to a 50% ratio across the board, no matter how many calories I'm taking in, we always get better results. People feel fuller longer, they don't have the cravings, and they see results faster because their body has all the tools it needs to respond to the periods of weight training, to respond to the periods of like cardio and all the other stuff they're doing. So those are your 4 basic levels for your protein goal. 100 gram a day minimum, 80% the goal, 100% the goal, and then adding back in your exercise-based activity that is added in on top of your regular calories. And did I forget anything? Page 1 is your basic meal plan. Page 2 is your shopping list, basically, and you're not buying everything on this list right here. You would just be buying the things you would need. So, like, if you're not eating cottage cheese, I hate cottage cheese, sorry. I'm not eating it, so I don't have to. But I wouldn't buy it also because I don't need it for anything. Where if I'm eating chicken breast, I'm probably going to want to buy 3 pounds of chicken because, like, that's going to be like one of my main staples in my diet. So this is more like a guideline of some of the things you'll need to follow this based on your portion sizes and everything else, right? And then the macro data, if you don't know how to read MyFitnessPal, some other stuff that's on there, that's good to read along too. But like I said, all 4 of these programs are exactly the same. Only difference is how many calories you're taking in total throughout the day and the portion size you have to get your macro goals in for the day. Once again, the 1.25 plan is about a 900 to 1,000 calorie plan. 1.75 is 1,200. 2.25 is 1,500, and the 2.75 plan is a 2,000 calorie plan diet. Like I said, your goal is not to stay on these plans. Honestly, I wouldn't run these for more than 8 weeks at a time because you're going to want to break. You don't want to be in a caloric deficit for too long because then eventually your metabolism slows down. So your metabolism's here, you're eating here, you're lowering your food intake so this way there's a spread so you have weight loss. But what will happen is as time goes on, your metabolism's going to slow down to match whatever your caloric intake is. It's your body trying to be more energy efficient and survive. So it's going to down-regulate your metabolism, slow it down, so this way it can survive. And you'll notice after a certain point, if you run this meal plan for like 4 months, 5 months, 8 months. I had a client running this for a year remotely, right? And they wondered why they were stopping to get results. Is because they were in too much of a deficit for too extended of a period of time, and their body stopped getting results. So they had to come out of their deficit, re-stimulate their metabolism, right? And then once they re-stimulated their metabolism, they were able to start getting results again, right? So my personal recommendation, with a few exceptions here and there, no less than 4 and no more than 8. After doing an 8-week cycle or whatever you're doing, I would take maybe a 1 or 2 week break. Basically adding in an extra 25 to maybe 35% of your calories to kind of re-stimulate your metabolism, and then going back in. So this way your body never has a chance to get too used to what's going on. Guys, that is how you follow the standard 3x2 meal plan. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, points of interest, funny jokes, anything like that, let you know the deal. Reach out to us in the Facebook group. Let us guide you in the right direction.